talk about strength. And sometimes strength means different things to different people. Some means pulling cars, some lifting boulders, and sometimes it's just cracking a smile every once in a while. And that's where my strength always fails me. We're going to try to understand physical, mental, spiritual strength, and understand that spiritual strength empowers the physical and the mental. Well, first we'll do what I kind of know something about every once in a while. I've lifted a weight or two. That's the physical strength. And that also divides into two categories, which is natural and then weightlifting strength. Natural is the inherent ability to, lift things such as furniture, and then lifting hay, hay bales and all that stuff. You just know how to lift stuff. And that's something I'm not very good at. I have to think about how I want to lift on something, which is where I go into the category of weightlifting, such as things as the bench and the squat and the curls and everything. You've probably heard about that a couple of times. And to establish some credibility for me as far as physical strength, I can do, I've benched 450, squatted 550, I know a couple things. And so, why did I always start this? I started because I was, wanted to, and then, kind of a little bit told to, but then eventually I just absorbed it, and it became a part of me. I also watched a cartoon where the character continually and always trained to be harder and faster and stronger, because there's always somebody bigger and meaner and also stronger and faster than you. And one of the lifts you can take away and then apply it to spiritual and mental strength, and it's squatting. Now, squatting is at the beginning was one of my worst lifts. And why, you say, well, I lifted and I did in high school, didn't have any problem with it. But whenever I got to we finally got a squat rack or something, as soon as I did it, my feet would almost go sideways. So first we had to get a couple of 2x4s and put them against the edges there where the guardrail is, and that's how I kept my feet straight. Well, then the next deal is going parallel. And so I had to get a flower pedestal so I can get parallel. And some of you are going, what's a squat? I don't know what that is. To describe a squat, it's where you take the squat bar from around this area from your neck, you lift up, and then you walk 3 paces back, and then you try to sit on an imaginary chair. And then you stand up with it. Some people are really good at that. The football players just do it all the time. But I wasn't very good at this. But something to the squat is just more than physical, and that's complete mental focus. They go, some people are like, I just do it, and I don't care what happens to me. Well, I'm going to walk you through my mental focus of the squat. I walk towards it. I hope I rested good enough. And I get under there. Man, I hope this bar is on the right part of my neck, because if it's not, it's going to hurt. All right, now I'm going to get my feet into place, and now I'm going to lift it off. Oh, thank goodness it's on the right side. It's right on my neck. The back pace is, hope I don't trip. All right, well, now I'm standing up straight. All right, now I got to move my feet out a little bit, because now I got to start getting into position. I like to go wide on them. Okay, thank goodness that's there. And then I kind of pause. I go, man, I hope my body upholds this whole deal. I hope nothing happens. I hope my knees don't give out, because I've been warned about squatting in knees. I hope my leg doesn't do a little screens there and I'm out for 4 or 5 days. Then you go down and you go, well, I hope I get parallel, because if I don't, that's a waste of movement. Okay, well, I did it, and then I jump right back up. Then that's where you can decide to do more. And then the whole process starts over again. And then I walk forward and hope I don't trip on the back there. And then I put it up, hopefully, in the right position. Well, that was pretty difficult for 15 seconds worth of, lifting, or even less. And so that brings the mental focus, because your whole body is into one motion. And mental strength, also called mental squatting, I believe that Mom can mentally squat with all the responsibility about 800 pounds. That's how much she has on her mind day to day, and how she puts up with it all, and all the finances and what this. But if you had taken all that responsibility and laid it on her on day 1 of marriage, she couldn't have handled it. And through each and progressive new responsibility that spread it up, she could do more and more and more, such as with physical strength. And things like Gaga, or I wrote down Gaga, so I can put Grandma, but so Grandma, with 40 years of work, that's a long time and a long physical, mental, and mostly spiritual feat to go day in, day out, and still continue to do so. Something that I don't know if I could do, because then you're 40 years and you still have the mind to go back there. And so, with all this, you go from the I guess I can, I guess, to the I think I can, and to the I know I can. Or to relate it to Monday through Friday, Monday, get through about halfway through Monday, go, well, I guess I can make it the rest of the day. Comes Tuesday, I think I can make it to Wednesday. And whenever Thursday, I know I can at least make it to Friday to be a part of the weekend. So with that mental is part of your physical, and then vice versa. Which leads to spiritual strength. And the best description was whenever Dad had his picture up here, and he related to the lamp. Whenever you fill the lamp up, you have a ton of spiritual strength. But as you don't work out your spiritual life, it gets lower and lower until there's nothing left. Which is where I feel about right now, because I go to the college campus and it just sucks it out of me. I'm like, I don't care about nothing, don't want to do anything, so what's the point of it all? But if we look and we understand that the spiritual strength, it empowers your mental and physical strength. And with this, we see that in the Bible that Jesus didn't empower your mental focus. Well, I guess I think I can do this, and not empower your physical and spiritual. And we can see this whenever Jesus healed the blind and the crippled, and especially the crippled man. Whenever he healed him, he didn't say, all right, you can walk, and the guy goes, well, I still don't think I can, and you're not the Son of God. And he didn't go, all right, well, you can heal your legs. Well, I can feel it in my legs, but I still don't think I can, and you're still not the Son of God. Whenever he healed the crippled, and also the blind man, he healed him spiritually. He knew that he was the Son of God. He mentally knew that he could stand up, and he physically could. And one of the best portrayals of strength is Samson in the Bible. Oh no, we're going to the Old Testament there. And it's in Judges. And if you haven't read the story of Samson, I encourage you to do so. It'd be Judges 13 through 16. And so we see with Samson, physical, mental, and spiritual strength. Before Samson was born, Manoah and his wife couldn't have a child. And then the Spirit of the Lord came and said that if you do not drink any strong drink or wine and eat anything unclean, you will have a son, and he will do great things. And so whenever he was born, they did what they were supposed to, and then Samson was born. And so we see that whenever Samson grew up, that also he could not cut his hair because of the Nazarite pledge, and also I think the strong drink as well. And so one day whenever Samson was going to the city, he see that he wanted a wife, and he came back and he told his parents about it. So he comes back to the city, and on his way he is attacked by a lion. And we see in Judges 14:6, it says that, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily, so that he tore him as one tears a kid, though he had nothing in his hand, but he did not tell his father and mother what he had done. And so we see whenever he was attacked, he still had things that God had planned for him, so they strengthened him spiritually and also mentally and physically to kill the lion. We see that later on, there he didn't tell anybody about the lion and what happened, so he wagered a riddle to his 30 groomsmen, I believe. And they were the Philistines. And he says, if you can figure this riddle out in 7 days, I'll reward you with 30 sets of garments, I believe. And so they kept badgering on his wife. Well, what is it? What is it? He goes, well, he hasn't told me. And they kept badgering her, and she says, well, he hasn't told me. So eventually, she gets on to him enough that he tells her. And so he tells the groomsmen and all them stuff. And so whenever they did answer the riddle, he knew that only his wife could have told them. And so he punished them. Judges 14:19. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily, and he went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 of them, and took their spoil, and gave the changes of clothes to those who told the riddle. And his anger burned, and he went up to his father's house. And then, he was doing good and well. But then the wife that he wanted was given away because they believed that Samson hated her. And then we see with him punishing the Philistines, I believe, in 15:14. And he came to Lehi. The Philistines shouted as they met him, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily, so that the ropes that were on his arms were as flax that is burned with fire, and his bonds dropped from his hands. And he found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, so he reached out and took it and killed 1,000 men with it. Then Samson said, with the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, with the jawbone of the donkey I have killed 1,000 men. So you see that with the power of the Lord, he could do a great feat by just killing 1,000 men with a bone. And that's a pretty far physical feat. And then, you see also, 19. And then after this, he was tired and thirsty. And so God rewarded his obedience in 15:19. But God split the hollow place that is in Lehi, so that water came out of it. When he drank, his strength returned, and he revived. Therefore he named it En Hakor, which is in Lehi to this day. So we see that through your obedience to God, and he strengthens your spiritual life, and it strengthens your mental and your physical strength. But then things were going well and good until chapter 16, which is I call the fall of Samson. First, it starts out where he sleeps with the harlot, and then he made a woman all there, Delilah, which I believe in Greek means to take away the day, which is some of Samson was the day. And we see that in 16:17. Judges 16:17. Well, before we do that, I'll give you a little bit more background. Well, he was with Delilah. The Philistines there wanted to also kill him as well, so they were trying to figure out his weakness. Why was he so strong? And so they went to Delilah and tried to make him, give her the secret of the answer. And so Delilah 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times asked him, well, what's the power of your strength? And he keeps denying her. But as he's away from God and not doing what he's done, his mental focus becomes less strengthened as well. And suddenly he gets so annoyed with her, and his mental focus and spiritual life is so underwhelmed that he gives the secret to his power. And so she immediately gives it to the Philistines. And then this was what happened in 16:17. So he told her that all that was in his heart, and said to her, a razor has never come upon my head, for I have been a Nazirite to God from my mother's womb. If I am shaved, then my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. So we see in this verse, this is the fall of Samson because he was away from God, and he was doing not what he was told, and being disobedient, and therefore his mental and physical strength were just sapped away. We move on to 16:20-31. Then Samson, so he wasn't being obedient, and so they plucked out his eyes and they forced him to turn a grain motor. And so the Philistines wanted to see some entertainment, so they said, bring Samson out here because we want to, be amused. And so Samson's last act was to obedience to God in 16:28-31. Then Samson called to the Lord and said, O Lord God, please remember me and please strengthen me just this time, O God, that I may at once be avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And Samson grasped the 2 middle pillars on which the house rested and braced himself against them, the one with his right hand and the other with his left. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. And he bit with all his might, so that the house fell on the lords and all the people who were in it. So the dead whom he killed at his death were more than those whom he killed in his life. And his brother and all of his father's household came down, took him, brought him up, and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of Manoah his father. Thus he had judged Israel 20 years. And so in his last act, we see that he was obedience to God, which strengthened his spiritual, mental, and physical body to perform the task that he was designed to live for. And so I'll bring out some verses here for strength, and that maybe you as the broadcast may use this to strengthen yourself as well. Just many different verses that maybe if you hear what you like, then pause the video, maybe research the context which is written in to strengthen your spiritual life. The yoke in Lamentations 1:14. The yoke of my transgression is bound by his hand, and they are wreathed, and came upon my neck. He hath made my strength to fall. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands, and from whom I am not able to rise up. Isaiah 10:13. For he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant. Proverbs 8:14. Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding, I have strength. Psalms 81:1. Sing aloud unto God our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the God of Jacob. Psalms 21:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is my strength of my life. Whom shall I be afraid? Psalms 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Psalms 81:2. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. Job 21:23. One dieth in his full strength, whom wholly at ease and quiet. Job 2:13. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word to him, and they saw the grief that was very great. And so we see that all these verses, that God is our strength. But as people, if you think about strength as only your physical, then you're missing out. If He empowers your spiritual strength, He empowers your mental strength, and He empowers your physical strength. So, in conclusion, what we need to do is whenever we believe, we need to believe in Jesus and skip the I guess I believe, I think I believe, into I know I believe in Jesus to empower our physical, mental, and spiritual life. But this cannot be just say, okay, well, one prayer is going to do it, and that'll be done. It's the constant and utter obedience to Him in our spiritual life that will strengthen the others. And constant obedience is with the physical working out to relate to. You have to keep doing it Monday through Friday, set after set, working out. You need to work out your mental focus. I think I can till I know I can. You have to believe in yourself and in your self-esteem. And the spiritual, well, I guess I believe in that guy named Jesus too. Full and constant, utter obedience to Him to strengthen your life. Amen.
Amen.